Bonjour Fargo! Amazing. Look at you speaking French in the morning. Fantastic. So bonjour everyone. My name is Alexandre Kiusa. I'm honored and pleased to be your welcome host. Let me first start by saying what a turnout. What a turnout. Wow. Did you see what So as I see a lot of new faces, let me start by asking who is new in the room? Who is new? Yes, yes. Give yourself a round of applause. Thank you for coming. Who are your recruiters? Who recruited you? Recruiters, where are you? Merci beaucoup. I don't see you, but merci. Who is not so new? 5 times, 10 times, Cantown times. Merci to you as well. Do I need to remind you that we are the most attended 1 million Cups in the nation? And I think today speaks to this, and to the 10 times, 20 Cantown times comers, this is because of you, so merci beaucoup. But do the new people know why they are here? Let me tell you, good question. So 1 Million Cups is our weekly gathering where we get to connect with local, regional, national, and hint, hint, living legends. So it's a wonderful way of coming here, getting the pulse of the area, what's happening in this wonderful Silicon Prairie, this ecosystem where we get to support each other. It's amazing to see last week there was a studies done about our ecosystem, how we're so connected. The whole myth of the one wolf on its own making this journey on itself is not real. It's all about being connected. And I think we're in an amazing, amazing area where this happens. So to those coming for the first time, please keep coming. And how was the coffee? How was the coffee, by the way? There you go. So you get to listen to amazing people, connect. Come here as a stranger, live here as a very well-connected person, and listen to amazing ideas. And even if you're not an entrepreneur like myself, but you're entrepreneur-hearted, you get to be like inspired and get to think, wow, look at people solving problems and making our community a better community, but as well putting Fargo on the map, right? On the national map. And this is because of people coming here. So with that, I'm going to invite my, are we brothers? Where are we again? Cousin. Because, okay, I've been here on stage so much that now people say we kind of look alike. Is it true? So I'm going to give it to Greg, and merci again for coming.
All right. Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to 1 Million Cups. We are streaming live all across Forum Communications Network. Anybody get a chance to see their new website? Fantastic. Let's give them a round of applause. What is going to happen is we're going to have a series of announcements, ways to get you plugged into our community, get connected to folks, learn about all the activities that are supporting entrepreneurs in our community. And then today, it's Living Legends Day. So we're going to have 2 guests that they're going to be interviewed by their kids. And so this is our 2nd annual Living Legends Day. We'll talk about that. There's going to be a time for some questions. And then we're going to get you out of here because I think of all of your employers, and they probably want you to go back to work. Right, Ron? All right, so to kick things off, we're going to have a series of announcements, and so we wanted to welcome up the City of Fargo's Mayor, Dr. Tim Mahoney, to share an opportunity for you later today. Welcome to the stage, Mayor Mahoney.
Thank you, Greg. First of all, I want to remind you that Fargo is the #1 growing city from 2010 to 2017, and we're growing because we're attracting people into the community, and we're really excited about that. Number 2, we're the 6-time national champions, NDSU Bison. Oh, higher. Bison, and I'll anticipate a 7th this year. Number 3, for entrepreneurs, we're one of the best places for entrepreneurs to live. Because if they live in our community, it's cheap housing in a sense, so a place they can find a place, and support they get from all different things we do for entrepreneurs. For the 4th year running, we're running the Mayor's Summit on Entrepreneurship, and it's going to be held this afternoon. We bring in mayors from all over the state. And the goal of all the mayors throughout the state is to attract people into their community and to grow. And the goal of the governor is to go to 1 million people in the state of North Dakota by 2020. So that's a huge challenge, and we will continue to support that. Thank you, Greg.
All right, thank you, Mayor. If you want to get involved, it is a free event later today, the Mayor's Summit on Entrepreneurship. Mayor Mahoney is recognized as one of the most active supporters of entrepreneurs out of the mayors in the country. So thank you, Dr. Mahoney. Up next, we have Jeff Oakes from the Twin Cities with an announcement on a new opportunity. Welcome to the stage of the Venn Foundation, Jeff Oakes. Welcome, Jeff.
Thank you, everyone. My name is Jeff Oakes. I'm the CEO of Venn Foundation. Made the trek up here today from the Twin Cities with the pretty sole purpose of finding local entrepreneurs who are looking for seed capital to help launch and grow a business that is explicitly trying to solve a social problem or has a social purpose that's on par with the pursuit of profit for owners. So that's my goal. If that sounds like you can come and talk to me about it. Basically, we've launched a big initiative called the 1 Million by 2020 initiative with anchor support from the Bush Foundation, and we are out to drive $1 million of seed capital into social businesses in North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota, and the Native nations that share that geography. We're just really trying to make this region the best place to launch and grow a social business. I look forward to meeting some of you. There's a website up there, and if you'd like, you can meet me after. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Jeff. Jeff is also one of the nation's thought leaders in B corporations. So if you're a social enterprise considering B corporations, Jeff spent a tremendous amount of time working on policy in Minnesota for that. Up next is one of my favorite entrepreneurs. Welcome to the stage, Adam, with the F5 Project. Welcome, Adam.
Thanks, Greg. Hey, I just wanted to give an announcement. We're doing an event tomorrow at the Fargo Dome from 8:30 to 4:30. We're bringing in entrepreneurs from Texas and California. The cool thing about these entrepreneurs is they used to be in prison, and they started their companies when they got out. One of them is Con Body. He figured out how to lose 60 pounds while he was in prison just using his own weight, and now has studios all over California. And the other one is Marcus Bullock, who started Flick Shop, which is Instagram for inmates, right? So as easy as it is to upload a picture to Instagram, you do that, and now it goes to your inmate, so you can have better communications. And the First Lady, Catherine Bergam, will be speaking too, but she's not a felon, so come on over anyway.
All right, thank you, Adam. All right, another announcement from our friends from the Bank of North Dakota. Welcome, Bismarck native Kelvin. Welcome, Kelvin.
Thanks, Greg. Great to be here today. As we all know, North Dakota has been on the commodity roller coaster, and the question is, how do we kind of get off of that? The answer is entrepreneurship and the creation of a technology component to our economy. And so as you have been the bright shining star, and I want to thank Greg too, by the way, and his staff for going out across North Dakota and sharing the idea and the message of the entrepreneur ecosystem, the next step is to bring everybody together in Bismarck. And so on January 20th and 21st, and you'll find these postcards up front, it is going to be Founders Day or Entrepreneurship Day at the Capitol. It'll be a chance to come together with our elected officials, with you, the entrepreneurs, to talk about the stories that are making North Dakota better and how do we continue advancing our economy. So we'll see you in January.
All right, well, one quick anecdote to that is the first 75 entrepreneurs that sign up, we're going to be able to pay for their hotel. We're going to be able to pay for their transportation. Emerging Prairie won a nationally competitive grant with the Kauffman Foundation to have the funds to do that. So if you're an entrepreneur, we'd love to have you in Bismarck. We're going to have dinner at the governor's residence and then spend the day with the folks in the Capitol and learn more about policymakers. All right, from the Bush Foundation in the Twin Cities, welcome to the stage, Allison Barman.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning, everybody. I'm Allison Barman with the Bush Foundation. For those of you not familiar, the Bush Foundation invests in great ideas and the people that power them in Minnesota, North Dakota, South Dakota, and the 23 Native nations that share that geography. One of the programs we're most well known for and most proud of is our Bush Fellowship. Do we have some Bush Fellows in the room? There's always a couple in here. There's one. All right, we got one. Excellent, awesome. What the Bush Fellowship does is looks for individuals who have a great track record but a whole lot of potential to have significant impact on their community. And the Bush Fellowship invests up to $100,000 in that individual to develop themselves, to go back to school or go learn a skill or get a coach or just develop themselves to have that kind of impact. We're currently in the process of selecting our 2018 fellows, but the application will open again next summer for the next round of fellows, so it's a good thing to start thinking about now. If there's something you're trying to develop to have the kind of impact you'd like, you can visit us at bushfoundation.org or find me afterwards. Thanks.
Thank you. And our final announcement is the Emerging Prairie Board Chair. Welcome to the stage, Patrick Chafee. Welcome, Patrick.
Hi everybody, I'm Patrick Chafee, and I have my day job is working at Bell Bank, so all my bosses are sitting over here to my left. On the side job is the board chair of Emerging Prairie, and I wanted to invite everybody here on Thursday, January 31st. We're having 1 Million Thanks. I think a lot of you have been to 1 Million Thanks, and it's an absolute blast. We haven't determined our location for it yet, but really it's our opportunity at Emerging Prairie to say thank you to everybody in this room and many who are watching live outside of the facility. But just a great time to have good food, good fellowship, spend some time, listen to some good music, and give us an opportunity at Emerging Prairie to say thank you. So mark your calendars. Thursday, January 31st, the location will not be outdoors, and that's all I know for now. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Patrick. At Emerging Prairie, we believe that entrepreneurs drive our economy, but we believe our artists drive our culture. One of the things that we practice is random acts of art. So today, for our random acts of art, I'd like to introduce you to Patrick and Mateo. Let's give them a round of applause.
Okay, we wrote this for a purpose to motivate you at this time. With this hypnotizing bass line, please feel free to lose your mind. And get high, get money, get real, all in between. Oh yeah, this is stadium music, 50,000 at a time. Let's get right, let's get right, let's get right, okay. Let's get right, let's get right, let's get right, okay. All the girls want, all they looking for is, all they ask for is, they keep wanting that. Look at you, look at me, look at you, look at me. Having fun, having fun. Let it go. Let's get right, let's get right, let's get right. Let's get right, let's get right, let's get right. All the girls want, all they looking for is, all they ask for is, they keep wanting that. Look at you, look at me, look at you, look at me. Having fun. Beat it, mister. Look at your girl. She loves it. I can see it in her eyes. She hope this lasts forever. Hey! Yeah. This is your part, girl. I feel good. I knew that I wouldn't. I feel good. I knew that I wouldn't. So good, so good. I got you. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Bring me down, can't nothing bring me down. Girl that I meet, yeah, this is what I say. See, I ain't tryna hurt you. No, I just wanna work you. See, I ain't tryna hurt you. No, I just wanna work you. And you better run. You better run. You better run. You better run away, baby. The fuck put my spell on you. You better get away, darling. 'Cause everything you heard is true. You pour it a hole, put it up
So for our second year, we introduced you today.
I thought we were going to do that.
Why don't you go first? So for our second year, we're going to have Living Legends Day. Last year, we had an opportunity to hear from some folks, and we thought, how would we make it interesting so people would show up? And I had an opportunity to talk to Billy, and he helped me craft what became, hopefully, a tradition, Living Legends Day. So here to introduce today, Living Legends Day, is past TEDx Fargo MC, fired, past Living Legends Day MC, not invited back, Forum Communications CEO, Billy Marcille Jr.
Thank you. Thank you, Greg. But award-winning dancer, right, Chris? Huh? Award-winning dancer. I've got a mirror ball in my house to prove it. Casper, forget about it. I'm not doing it, even if you ask. Yes, Living Legends. They're still living. They were here a year ago. Ron Offit and Bill Marcille, Sr. in the audience. Yes. Awesome. Thank you for coming. So I want to introduce Michael and Steve. Right? Is that my time? It's my cue? All right. You're going to stay here with me? All right. Tavine, got 3 minutes. Okay. So 27 years ago, I moved from Minneapolis to Fargo. And I didn't have a million cups, right? There wasn't a place that I could sit down and talk with like-minded people about business. So I was a much younger guy, and I didn't know what to do. And at that time, Shields was really exploding on the regional scene, of course, and even in the national scene. And Fred Shield was the patriarch of the company, and he had this great reputation of being a savvy business person, but able to balance creativity and business. And I thought, well, wow, that's what I want to be. And a growing businessman, I want to be that. So after about 2 weeks, I finally worked up the courage and the nerve to call him and said, hey, can I pick your brain? I want my own million cups. So I went to his office. It was this tiny little office on 13th Avenue. And I walked up the stairs, and there sat Fred in this office with all this really cool artwork. And he had his yellow shirt on with his name tag, Fred. And we sat and talked for about a half hour. And it was transcending, and he gave me great advice. And I still hold a lot of that advice today. It was fantastic. And that is Steve Michael's grandfather, right? So there's a legacy there that Steve Michael has. He's the fourth generation family business owner of Shields. He has integrity, a hardworking spirit, and a beauty of philanthropy baked into his DNA, right? His dad was like that, his grandfather was like that, and his great-grandfather was like that. So today, help me welcome Steve Michael Shield. Now, who is the next guy?
Just pick somebody.
So this next guy, Michael Solberg. I know Mike. I'll be honest. I know Mike. Let's be transparent. I know Mike. I know him well. Some people say I know him very well. If you ask my wife and his wife, they will probably tell you I know him too well. Is that true, Sharon, Chris? Probably too well, right? So when you ask me, Greg asked me to do this, I'm like, well, I know Michael. I should probably Google him just to see. Everybody Googles people to see if there's any detail that might be interesting that I'm not aware of. And he's CEO of one of the largest family-owned banks in the country, right? We all know that. His Bell Bank is listed as one of the top places to work in the country, like forever. It's always been that way, going back. I don't know. That we know. He's on the Bush Foundation board. Very philanthropic. Does all these great, wonderful things. But you guys know that, right? You know that stuff. You're not here to hear from me like that. So you want something more interesting, something juicy, right? Something that you can go home tonight and say, oh my God, I did not know that. Correct, right? So, Michael, I don't know, should I tell the story what was it, 3 years ago at Halloween? Or maybe that time we were in our backyard. No, I'm not going to tell that story. Sorry, guys, I'm not going to tell that story. But
Tell it in the forum.
I could tell in the forum, maybe. But what I will tell you is Michael is not the typical banker. He's not, right? He's not the typical banker. He has an entrepreneurial spirit that transcends a second-generation family business owner. That's not typical of having an entrepreneurial spirit in that position, right? His business savvy and his savvy for customer service and his employees transcends typical business principles, right? His humanity, his humility, and his philanthropic spirit, just like Steve, is fantastic. It's inspiring. It's inspiring to me. I'm looking forward to today to hear their stories. So help me welcome my much younger brother, Michael Solberg.
Thanks. All right. Well, thanks, Bill, Steve. Proud to be up here with you. So Billy and Steve and I have a fellowship. We all work for our dads. We have this little support group. We get together. Not everyone knows what it's like to go to work, and you don't know if you're getting grounded and fired or what's happening, right? But that can happen in the same day. We're honored to be here. I know we're fighting the clock, so let me start. I'm going to introduce my dad. Steve's going to introduce his dad, and then we'll get going with some questions, and then throw it out to you guys to ask a few questions, too, if there is time. Dick Solberg was born in 1946, born and raised in Findlay, North Dakota. He graduated from Findlay High School, a proud Wildcat. And then went on to earn his degree at Concordia College in ping pong and business, they tell me, before video games were around. He followed my grandpa Charlie into the banking business, and in the early 70s joined my grandpa at a small bank in Findlay, Citizen State Bank of Findlay. The total balance sheet was $3 million at the time. In 1982, my dad joined the Snortland family in North Fargo at a company called State Bank of Fargo, a one-branch bank up in North Fargo with $25 million in total assets at the time. The next 35 years, my dad has led our company to become one of the largest privately owned banks in the country, going from $25 million in total assets to $5.2 billion in total assets. And I think the real remarkable part of that growth story is that almost all of it is organic growth, built one customer and one employee at a time. But I think what really makes my dad a true legend is not the focus on numbers, but his focus on people. To this day, he still calls each of our employees on their anniversary to wish them a happy anniversary. He still handwrites birthday notes to each employee and to their spouse. And he still hands out bonus checks every Christmas with his famous Santa hat. My mom and dad have been married 50 years. My mom, Joellen's here. They just celebrated their 50th anniversary. They have 3 kids and 11 grandkids, and when he's not sitting at his desk at Bell Bank, his favorite place in the world is Pelican Lake. So please welcome my dad. I'm proud to introduce you to Richard Solberg.
All right, well, you can call me Steve or Steve Michael, but you can't call me Mr. Shield. Because that is Mr. Shield. My father's originally from Fargo, went to Fargo Central, which no longer exists. Went from there to St. Olaf, where he majored in hockey and history. Was actually drafted by the Boston Bruins, but broke his leg at his senior season and ended up going into the Army instead. Got out of the Army in 1972, moved to Fargo and took over our company, or started working his way up in the company at that point. And at that time, we were a farm good and hardware business. We had no idea about sporting goods. But in 1977, Dad started to run our Sioux Falls store at that time and decided he was going to put in sporting goods in spite of what his father, Fred, said. And if you knew Fred, that was a daring move. And we did pretty darn well with it. And we continued to add sporting goods to our stores until 1989. Dad became our company president, CEO. We opened our first full-line sporting goods store in Grand Forks, North Dakota in 1989 at 33,000 square feet. We're now a 27-store company. We'll be 29 by 2 years from now. Our stores we're building now are 220,000 square feet. And we took that leap from small farm and hardware stores to sporting goods stores because of his leadership and his direction. And so I'd like to welcome my father to the stage, Steve D. Shield.
You guys ready for this? We were talking earlier, and we were wondering which one of these guys said yes to this first, because if one of them was going to say no, they were both saying no for sure. But thanks for taking time, you guys, to do this. Let me start by just asking you guys about your relationship, your friendship. Steve, you've served on the board with Dick for over 30 years now. Steve Michael has joined our board the last few years, but you've known each other a long time, grown up together in business, play a lot of golf together now. We won't ask you who's better at golf. But my question is,
I'm going to tell you.
my question is, what have you learned from each other over the years? What, Dick, maybe we'll start with you. What have you learned observing Shields, and what have you learned from Steve and from your relationship?
Well, Steve and I, of course, when we're together, and we've been together a lot the last few years, talk a lot about business. I've learned a lot from Steve. There's a couple things that really stand out with Steve. Obviously, when people are asked about Shields, it's customer service, and Michael, you were a part of this, and several years ago, we always thought we were good at customer service, and then we probably were pretty good, but Steve said, well, how do you know you're good? You don't measure it. We now measure it, and we know secret shops, they have a long time history of secret shopping and measuring and having really customer service stands throughout the whole company. It doesn't matter which store you go into, it's the same, and we're really trying to have a similar model and after Shields. Another, similar to Shields, this is a golf story, so Steve and I both started golfing later in life.
Much later in life.
Much later in life. There's a reason why we're really busy working. But, and really quick side story, so I just started golfing a few years ago like Steve, and I used to say all the other bankers in town were golfing, and I was calling on their customers, and I got most of them, so just a joke. Anyway, so Steve and I were golfing in the seniors golf tour, and we were at Elbow Lake, and Steve introduced me to somebody that was also golfing with us, or was at the event, and it was one of his former employees who had just recently retired. And on the way home, we started talking about their ESOP, and he said, "Say, what do you think the value of?" George just retired, and what do you think his stock is worth, his ESOP stock? And I said, "Boy, I don't know, Steve." And it was like, and this employee wasn't a high-level employee, and it was like 1.2 or 1.5 million. And I go, "Oh, wow, what a story!" And Steve was so proud of that, and they are so proud of being an ESOP company. We are now an ESOP company, we're following that Shields model. So we also get asked, what are the many things that why our companies are growing? There's 100 that we have, and he's going to say there's 100 they have, and there's too many to really dive in deep, but go for it, Steve.
I really enjoyed my years on the board with Dick, and that's really got to know him. I was on the Bell Bank board for almost 31 years. In fact, I remember sitting at the meeting, and I looked around the table, and the only young person at the table was Mike. So I said, you know what, I'm going to get off the board, and I think my son would be a good choice, because you need banking's changing, leadership's changing, and you need two younger people on that board. So I stepped down, and I guess they selected Steve. I don't have any idea what kind of a job he's doing, but
very good job.
I guess he challenges you. It's been fun to watch Bell Bank grow on the board, and I think it confirmed that we're very similar companies. We really care about our people. We really care about customer service. We're not satisfied. Neither of us are satisfied. I remember I took over the company in basically 1989. Our office was still in Billings, but I ran the company out of Fargo, and we were getting ready to open the Grand Forks store, and my uncle called me and says, "Why in the world would you want another store with all the headaches?" And I said, "Because we're either going to grow, and we're going to get bigger, or we're going to fall behind." And I think Bell has basically the same philosophy. You're going to get bigger, and you're going to grow. You're going to get better at what you do, or you're going to fall behind. And we just opened our newest store in Lincoln, Nebraska on the 27th of September, and I thought our store in Colorado, they opened a year ago on the September 27th, was beyond anything I could imagine. Yet when I walked in that Lincoln store, the store that our team had put together down there, it was just walked around in awe of the talent of our people. And I think Dick rocks around in awe of the talent of his people as well.
Well, in today's day and age, companies going public and being public, you hear about that all the time in the news, but both of our companies are private. We're proudly private. What do you view as the advantages of being a private company in today's business climate versus everything we hear in the news?
Well, it's really fun being a private company. We can make $1 million decision today and move on, not worry about it. We can say, okay, for the next couple of years, we're probably not going to have the growth and profit that we would like to have, but for the long term, this is a better decision. We don't have to report to our stockholders on a quarterly basis. It's fun sometimes to read about these public companies and what their CEOs are saying are their problems, and you know that is not their problem. It really is. We have a number of our competitors in the sporting goods business that are public, and the excuses they give as to why their business isn't good, I'd like to pick up the phone and call them and say, you know, you really weren't telling the truth on that report to analysts. So we don't have to manage quarter to quarter. We can manage year to year. We can manage 3 years out. That's about as far as we look. And we can make decisions on our own without having to worry about anybody saying, whoa, why are you doing this?
I totally echo what Steve just said. Not having to worry about analysts and next quarter's earnings is huge. We just absolutely focus on, over the years, have focused on growth. We've had to invest in people. That's critical. People are critical in our business as they are for Shields, and invest in new locations, invest in people, and sometimes they do not bring any profits to the company. They bring expense to the company starting out, but we don't worry about it. We've always had a goal of record earnings the next year, but that record earnings might have, some years was only $1 more than the year before, but then a few years later it would be way more significant, and so it's a big advantage. We're both very committed to being privately owned for many, many years to come, and that's in order that you would echo what I'm saying, right, Steve?
I would, and
for years to come.
Dick, you're probably not going to tell them about the bet we've had for 10 years, are you?
These guys are a little competitive with each other, just in case you don't
I'll
know.
just say, no, and so in the banking world, well, our numbers are absolutely transparent because we're FDIC insured and state regulated. So our balance sheet and the income statement are recorded on a quarterly basis. Shields is not just a privately owned company; they are a very private company. And if they give anybody in the audience a chance, don't ask them what their gross sales are or their revenues or their profits, because they will say it's none of your business.
Business is good.
And so, but we do have a little side bet on some growth and earnings, and yes, he does win, and yes, he beats me in golf, and he and I taught him how to play gin rummy, and now he beats me in gin rummy. But when we play bridge, he's always my partner, so then I get to win at something. So
Took me 40 years to beat him at something, so I don't feel bad for you.
Following along Steve's question, talk a little bit about patience, because there's a lot of young folks in the audience, and these are not overnight success stories. So talk about patient capital and longer term. It has a little bit to do with that private ownership, maybe. Go ahead.
That was from your son. You go ahead.
Yeah, that's for you.
No. So I partnered with the Snortland family when I came in 1982. They were the major stockholders of and sold me 25% of the bank back in 1982. State Bank of Fargo. We had one location, but they really taught me about patient capital, and they were always concerned about. They were never concerned about next quarter's earnings, and it was always about and leaving the capital in the bank, in the company, and they knew that capital was needed, and it is in many businesses, and for a lot of the entrepreneurial people out here, you're going to have to partner with people and try to find somebody that's patient, that's not doesn't need a profit the next month or the next quarter, or maybe not for many, many years, but that's just enjoy being a part of the growth of a company, and I've had that privilege with the Snortland family and all of our stockholders.
I think we've been very patient with our business. Someone always asks, how many stores do you have? And it isn't about the number of stores that we have, it's the excellence within our stores. And we opened our Grand Forks Shields in 1989. It was 33,000 square feet. Within about 1 month, we could see it wasn't big enough, so we opened 40,000 square feet in Sioux Falls, South Dakota in 1991. And within about 1 month, we could see it wasn't big enough, so we opened 50,000 square feet in Clare, Wisconsin. Then we opened 60,000 square feet in Fargo, North Dakota, and in the old LaBelle's Best building. And within about a year, we could say, well, it's not big enough. And at that time, we were building a new store in Iowa City, Iowa, and it was scheduled to be one level. And the company president, myself, Steve Hobart, and I went down to Minneapolis and looked at a 2-level galleon store. And I remember we were standing on the 2nd level looking down, and Steve said, yeah, we can do this. And I said, yeah, we can do this. We can do it a lot better than they're doing it, a lot more intense. So went back to the board, and Steve was an architect by trade out of the NDSU, but he was our company president. And he built a little cardboard cutout. And we showed the board what we'd like to take. We'd like to take that 50,000 square foot store in Iowa City to 2 levels, make it 100,000 square feet. And it was halfway under construction in 1997, to open in 1998, and the dean of the business school at the University of Iowa wrote a full-page story with pictures on how a 100,000 square foot store in Iowa City could never survive. And I thought, well, what does he know about our business that I don't know? And, but it opened in 1998, and in about a year it was too small. So we built 120,000 square feet in Appleton, Wisconsin, St. Cloud, Minnesota. Then we built 160, then 170,000 square feet in Omaha and Des Moines. And I was making a trip back to Iowa City, so I called the dean of the business school at the University of Iowa. And I said, I still have that full-page article from 1997, and I'd like to come and just explain to you why we've been so successful, why our next store is going to be almost 300,000 square feet in Reno, Nevada. And he said, I'm not interested, I'm retiring. And I thought, good for the students. So, but we've always been patient, and it was December of about 2004, and I was sitting at my desk, and I got a call from, it said, Gibbons, Nevada. It said, Merry Christmas, Steve Shield. We don't say Happy Holidays, we say Merry Christmas.
We say Merry Christmas.
Okay. And it was Governor Gibbons from Nevada, so along with Mayor Gino Martini in the city of Sparks. He said, we'd like to have you build a Shields in Sparks, Nevada. And I said, well, where is Sparks, Nevada? They said, well, it's an affluent suburb of Reno, and we've been studying your business, and we've picked you as the one we'd like to throw a lot of money at to build a store in Nevada. I said, we really have no interest in Nevada. He said, we have an open checkbook. So I said, come to Fargo and talk to us about it. So they brought their team from Reno up, and talk about patience. We negotiated for a couple years, and the store opened on September 26th of 2008. The worst time you could possibly open the United States, and the worst location you could probably open the United States. Everything had just blown up in the United States. Nevada was the worst. Sales are below projections. Costs to build the store were well above projections, and even though the state of Nevada helped us out, thank goodness to Bell Bank, or State Bank at the time, and Bankers Trust in Des Moines. Other bankers were fleeing us. They stuck with us. And now when those other bankers call, it's just fun to say, I tell you, remember 2008 when you said, get your bank loan somewhere else? I said, well, we're still getting our bank loan somewhere else. So we've been patient through the process, one store at a time, world class, better than the last. Patient with our people. I think there's a lot of pressure working at Shields. We expect an awful lot of our people, but we have fun at the business, and they perform. And patience with mistakes. We always say, don't be worried about making mistakes. If I have to keep pushing you along, it's not going to work. I said, you take off on your own, you do the job on your own. If I make a mistake, we'll learn from it. And I think that's one of the things we pride ourselves at Shields. We learn from the mistakes. I've made more than most. Patient with our people, patient with the growth philosophy. It's worked real well for us.
So you've both been in your business for 40 plus years, and what's been the biggest change in how you lead a business over the past 4 decades?
I remember when I grew up in the business, our people were called managers. And we had store managers, and we had line managers, which are buyers, and we had department managers. Remember, one of the best things my dad ever said, he says, Steve, you got to take time to close your door and just think. Think about a challenge. Think about a problem you have. Start out just doing that 30 minutes a week. If you can force yourself, and soon enough, you'll start to learn how this process works. And so I started to close my door for 30 minutes a week, then 30 minutes a day. And I was reading about leadership. The difference between leadership and management. We've said at Shields, we manage processes, we manage inventory, but we lead people. And there were times, believe it or not, on a Sunday morning before church, some of our store leaders would come in. When these are back when our stores were in the 70s, our stores were small. They were 5,000, 8,000 square feet, and they would walk around with a tape recorder. And they would order the whole store on Sunday morning by themselves, put the tape cassette in the mail, send it to our supplier. They would ship us the goods. Well, now, my goodness, we've taken that to a whole new level. Store leader hires a great leadership team with them. We've got shop managers throughout the store. Our stores are broken in about 75 different shops. Those people are responsible for the shops. We pay them based on their performance. Our whole company is basically performance-based as far as pay. If they do a good job, make a good living, their ESOP goes up, they enjoy working for us. If they don't do a good job, it's best to find another place to work because they're not making money, we're not happy with them. So we've gone from basically a store manager running the store to leaders training people and letting them run the store. It's been our biggest change.
From you, Mr. Chairman?
He said that well.
All right, good. All right, good. Let's move on. Hey, I know we're fighting the clock. Are we doing okay? Where's Greg? We're good? Okay. Here's a question that I have been meaning to ask both of you. Philanthropy has played a part in both of the stories of Shields and Bell Bank, unique approaches to not only investing in needs in the community, but also serving on boards, whether it be for churches, colleges. You guys have both been involved in a lot of organizations. Speak to how you think about philanthropy and giving back and working with people that need help in the community.
Well, there's no more philanthropic family and more philanthropic company than Shields, and I think they deserve it. That's an absolute fact. So they've been a model for all of us over the years. Our signature, of course, philanthropic happening was Pay It Forward, which started 10 years ago. We're very proud of Pay It Forward, not knowing that it was going to continue for 10 years. We have now given $12 million. I got to get this all straight, Michael. $12 million and through our Pay It Forward program. And Julie Peterson-Klein is down here, and she likes to say, well, 10 years, $12 million, but it's also that there's been 12,000 gifts given, $1,000 at a time by our employees to needs in the community, and our Pay It Forward program does not have to go to charity, but a lot of the dollars do, or to a church, but it can be just to a person in need, a family in need, and it's amazing how much $1,000 can mean to some people at any given time in their life. And so we're also very proud of our Pay It Forward program, but we're also proud to watch what Shields do. It's just amazing how philanthropic their family has been.
Steve, any follow-up on
I would just add, I was lucky to grow up in a family where my mother and father were very generous and leaders in the community. And people ask me, oh, you got your name on so many things around town. Why do you do that? And I said, we don't do it to put our name on things. I said, the Performing Arts School at Oak Grove with the Shields Performing Arts Center would not have been there if we wouldn't have put our name on it and given the money. I said the Shields Arena would not be there if we hadn't given the money. The Shields Center at NDSU probably would have been there, and but we're happy to support things like that. We support Christian schools, children's museums. We have a foundation that was set up by my father, and all the stores can come to us with requests, and they have to supply 10% of the funds on their end. So in Appleton, Wisconsin, we have baseball fields, we've got soccer fields, we've got music venues, we've got performing arts schools from Great Falls, Montana, to Reno, to Springfield, Illinois, that are all sponsored by our foundation. And it's a good way to get our people in the process too as well. They have to bring us from their community, they have to bring us the request from their community. They have to fund it 10%, and then we'll step up from the foundation and fund it at 90% if we feel it's a worthwhile cause. So it's a lot of fun to field those requests every month at our board meeting and call that store or call that store leader, or in some case an assistant store leader, and say, we're going to fund that. Just real rewarding.
One of the things we're pretty proud of as a company on that line, and I think it's important for anybody who's in a business, is that when we do well, we want to do good in our communities. And only profitable, well-run companies can give back. And that's, I think, it's important to think as you're getting into business is, how did you get there, who supports you? And so that's a big part of our culture of that giving back is, you know what, the communities have supported us through coming in and shopping in our stores, and we want to give back to those communities. It's a big part of who we are as a company. So I know we're getting close to the end here yet, so we're going to start asking you the tough questions now. So the first question for you is, after 40 years in the business, you now got two young guys sitting over here to your left that are starting to take over the business. What's the hardest part about stepping back and watching that transition happen?
Whoa.
Watching the mistakes you make.
We do talk about this quite a bit.
I know.
Well, but I think we're both really just trying to guide the business, and you guys are going to do it a little different, and then sometimes that isn't always easy for us to see it do it differently, but you're both doing it really, really well, and so we're proud of you guys, but we're also proud of all the Bell Bank employees and all the Shields employees that you guys have, that work with you guys every single day, because we know that's what's making our company great. We know it's what's making the Shields company great, and we got a lot. It's a team effort. I know you have a lot more employees than we do. We have 1,200 employees now at Bell Bank. We have 800 employees at Discovery Benefits, and they work really, really, really hard. And we want to reward them with great bonuses like you guys do. And now we're really proud of our ESOP. And so you guys just keep it going. Don't change too much. So don't change everything.
Don't screw it up.
The other thing,
we know.
so really quickly, just a minute, Siri. I'll call you back. I'm tied up, Siri. Technology is really changing. Who would think that technology would affect the retail business, and it is affecting banking significantly? And you guys are going to have challenges that we didn't have because of technology, and we're having to invest. I used to say hundreds of thousands. It's millions and millions of dollars. You guys are too in the area of technology. We have to keep up. The people love the service that they get when they come in our banks and in your stores, but they're in love with the technology, and we have to respond to that. And you guys that's going to be your problem more than it is ours.
If it's his problem, it's my problem. But anyway, I didn't hand Steve the job. I walked out of the room and said to the board, we have an internal board, all active people in our company, and I just walked out of the room and said, you got to choose our next CEO. And I think the same happened for me. My father and my uncle, my father walked out of the room and said to Chuck, my uncle, he said, you got to choose the next person to run this company. And in their cases, they chose me, and in Steve's cases, the board chose him. And we're passing 7,000 employees now in 13 states. We'll be 8,000 employees when we get Dallas and Colorado Springs and Eden Prairie open, and it's a real challenge, but it isn't just Steve's challenge. We have a tremendous board, active people in the business that we month to month and just work on our problems. So things are going well, and it's just when things are going well and you're generating the cash to pay your people and think about new projects, life is really pretty good.
Yep. Good. We can time for an audience question or two, if that's all right. One. Okay. Good. Okay.
All right. Thanks, Ron, for volunteering.
Oh, no.
I wish that I had some warning. You guys both do a tremendous job. And your second generation is, believe it or not, they're going to do better than what you guys did. The world has changed. Do you find it really tough to accept the ideas that they come up with, or do you rationalize it and say, well, I'm not going to have to pay for it?
And Ron, real quick, you're asking for a friend, right?
Actually, I'm the one that says spend the money. He says we can't. It doesn't get a good ROI. So, no, seriously, we're just. I enjoy the track our company's on. It's never been about an ROI to me. It's about building a store that's fun for our people to work in, fun to come to work every day, whether in the corporate office or in a store. I think the future looks bright. You know, we go into a community a year and a half probably before we open that store, and we hire the best people in retail that we can find and bring them on board with us. And the business is really all about people. Every challenge we have is because we don't have the right person in place. Every success we have is because we have a great person in place. So our challenge is to keep creating an environment where people thrive and enjoy coming to work at Shields.
Okay, I got to jump in.
Well, just real quickly, Steve, though, I want to expand on what Ron asked. And Michael and I are really on the same page when it comes to a lot of our, how we view business. And we have a real simple mission statement. It's 4 words: happy employees, exclamation point, happy customers. And Mike and I both feel strongly that if our employees are happy and love going to work and work really, really hard, then it's going to show on how on the service they give and the success of our company. And it's worked in the past, and it's what he's going to carry forward into the future.
All right,
so to answer your question, because neither of them did. Yes, they struggle with that.
So you guys are all first-timers, I think, at 1 Million Cups, and there's been over 250 people that have spoke on this stage, and we ask the same final question every single week. What can all of us do? There are 416 people in the room. This is the largest 1 Million Cups in our history. What can 416 of us, okay, do the applause. This reminds me of my trip to the State of the Union, a lot of clapping. So I didn't have a suit then either. Okay, so what can all 416 of us do to support you and your businesses? And just, we don't want a humble answer. What can we actually do? You keep this community thriving, you keep it vital, you're supporting so many efforts. What can we do as individuals that care about our community to support your businesses and help your teams reach their full potential?
I liked Ron's answer last year: mow your lawn and eat potatoes, right? I mean, that was pretty good. Yeah, I'll go first, and then we'll go down. We'll let these guys think about it. Does that sound good? I think, I think what we can all do to continue to make this a great place is the civility in North Dakota is so much different, no matter where you're from, what side of the aisle you sit politically, what business you're in. We all get along here. We're all running in the same direction and pulling in the same direction, and I think we just got to continue to be focused on that culture big time.
I think we all know those companies in our community that are great at giving back. And, I think anytime you're making that decision about a bank loan or sporting goods or potatoes or whatever it might be, we know those companies that support our community, and we should do everything we can to support those businesses.
When a community does well, we do well. And I was talking to my wife the other day, and we thought, if you put a piece of red caution tape or yellow caution tape around every organization, every charity, every building at MSU and NDSU and such that was funded by business, the town would basically shut down for a day. So I think that when the community does well and business does well, we can support the community. And I just encourage you to, if you're not involved, get more involved, either with time or talent or with finances, because when the community does well, the bank does well, and Shields does well.
Yeah, thanks. Greg just dittos to what they've all said, but I would just say we're just really proud to be a Fargo-Moorhead West Fargo company, and and it's our plan to be locally owned and privately owned for long time, 100 years. So,
let's give them a round of applause.
Thank you,
gentlemen. All right, there's a couple quick comments. All right, so just if you guys could just stay here, a couple things. One is if you're related or a family member of anybody here, if you're comfortable, could we just stand and can we give you a round of applause? Thank you for supporting these guys. If you currently work for one of their organizations or have ever been employed by one of these folks, could you just stand, please? So we just want to say thank you guys. As we wrap today, 1 Million Cups is the largest, 1 Million Cups Fargo is the largest one in the entire nation. It's free when you come, but very expensive if you miss. It is made possible by all of these organizations. So if you know anyone from any of those organizations, if you could just say a quick thank you, send a text, a tweet, whatever you want to do, that would be great. There are volunteers here. Roger from SCORE helps us every week. We got the folks at I Bailey do our live tweeting. Thanks to the Emerging Prairie team for helping make this possible. Next week is a very special 1 Million Cups, and what it's going to be is it's Halloween next Wednesday. So there will be a Halloween costume. I'm going to be a banker, and so we are going to have a Halloween contest. So if you want to get a free John Deere riding lawnmower donated by our friends, yeah, thank you. But please dress up, bring your kids. We have an amazing group of teachers that won the Governor's Education Innovation Contest out of Minot that are going to be here. Sarah from Teacher Spark is going to be here. We'd love to have you back. And just in closing, one of the values that is deep and rich within the entrepreneurial community around the world is give first. And what I just want to say thank you for this incredible learning moment for all of us. You gave first to us, so thank you. The teams at Bell and Shields have decided that they didn't think that the speakers were quite good enough, so they wanted to give $10 for everybody that's here. So on your way out, there's going to be folks giving you a $10 bill. And what they want you to do with that is do something good for someone. We want to spark a revolution of kindness, making this the most generous place in the world. So please do that. And on behalf of all of us that are here today, thank you for your commitment to our community. We get to thrive because of your generosity, and we hope you'll keep going, expand globally, and keep changing the world. We'll see you back here next week at 1 Million Cups!